TinkerPlots is a dynamic data visualization software designed specifically for students in grades 4 through 8. TinkerPlots helps students work with data, easily moving between representations of data such as cards, tables, and plots. Students can sort data by dragging points, stack them up, change plot or icon types, and use color to illustrate values of an attribute. Data are everywhere. In TinkerPlots 2, it is even easier to capture data and organize and visualize it in intuitive ways in order to spot important trends and relationships. In this demonstration, students are tracking injuries at their elementary school, collecting the date, location, and type of injury. TinkerPlots 2 recognizes dates and treats them like numbers on an axis. You can investigate where on school grounds these injuries are occurring by pasting images into the plot background. This visualization tells us so much more about the data. You can also add new incidents directly into the plot. The X and Y locations are recorded automatically, and you can then enter the other data. The severity of an injury is rated from 1 through 10. Change the icon type to the new icon style called Value Circle. Now the icon sizes are proportional to the severity level. A hotspot becomes apparent at the large play structure. The biggest addition to TinkerPlots 2 is the new sampler engine, which you can use to simulate probability, model data, and teach informal statistical inference. Let's begin with a traditional context, rolling 2 dice. The sampler gives students a way to simulate this type of data and generate a large number of cases. Students can build this model in a variety of ways. Many prefer to use a spinner in this context, or even 2 spinners, one to represent each die. Once the model is built, the sampler allows students to collect data. Each spinner produces a random result simulating the roll of 1 die. You can also investigate the sum of 2 dice by adding the sum of joined values to the results table. Plotting the sum attribute allows students to begin to see the shape of the data. By sampling repeatedly, students can observe the variability in the results from sample to sample. Counters cycle through elements systematically. You can use this feature to generate the sample space for rolling 2 dice and the expected distribution of their sum. When the sampler is run, notice that the left counter stays on 1 while the right counter cycles through the values. The left counter changes to 2 and the right counter cycles through the values again. Using the sampler, together with TinkerPlots' graphing capabilities, students can explore randomness visually. Here, we simulate lights on in an office building at night. You can lower the probability of a light being on to see how that affects the distribution of lights. Notice how often it happens that the events appear to cluster. The most unique use of the sampler is for building what we call data factories. Here's a data factory that makes cats with various attributes. When you run the factory, each case, or cat, is first given a gender, then a name, a height, and an eye color. In the results table, each row holds the data for 1 cat. You can also see the data as they are plotted in the graph, comparing the lengths of female cats to male cats. To investigate this further, display the median and use the ruler tool to measure the difference between the median lengths of female cats and male cats. Lock the ruler on the median symbols to automatically calculate this difference when a new sample is taken. Learning to use TinkerPlots in your classroom is now supported by 5 new instructional movies. These movies cover the skills you need to use TinkerPlots to design simulations and to analyze data. If you learn by doing rather than watching, you can also use the 4 step-by-step TinkerPlots tutorials. In addition to software improvements, free classroom activities are now available online. For a more in-depth understanding of how to use TinkerPlots in your classroom, take the new Professional Development course. Those are many of the improvements in TinkerPlots 2. Having the sampler's ability to simulate data tightly integrated with the data analysis capabilities allows you and your students to explore and connect big ideas in data and chance like never before.